Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to continue the Breaking Plateau series in NHL 21. So if you haven't watched the first video, go and check that out. This video series is going to help you guys systematically move up divisions in Rivals. So if you are someone who is actively trying to get better at the game, you need to actually change things mechanically and what you're doing while you're playing, or you're not going to improve. And the reason for that is because Rivals is skill-based matchmaking, meaning that the whole intention of the mode is to eventually make you go 500. You'll win 3, then you'll lose 3. You'll stay in that exact same division. Maybe you creep up in the next one, but eventually you'll fall back and you'll settle in somewhere. The only way that you can move up is by actually changing how you play the game. And I said this in my, prior, example. It's a lot like golf, man. If you don't know how to play golf and you go to the driving range and hit 100 bucket, or a bucket of 1,000 balls, all you're doing is practicing your crap swing, okay, without learning anything and how to actually improve it. So that is what this video series is all about. So today we are going to discuss divisions 8 through 6. Last video was 10 through 8. Doing the things that I listed out in that last video should have been able to get you to Division 8. And if you haven't been able to hit there, just go back and watch the video and again, focus on the things I'm talking about. What I'm going to do in this one is I've written about 5 or 6 points that I want to show you guys in terms of gameplay and strategy that is going to get you to Division 6. That's the whole goal in this video. If you are already ahead of that, then maybe you watch this and you learn something new regardless. That isn't going to hurt your game, but this is, again, for a very specific range of people, and I think that this entire video series, your guys are going to learn a ton, and the reason for it, guys, is I had to learn all this stuff. Like I said, I am not an elite player, but I managed to get to 2,200 skill rating and Division 1 and 16 wins in Hut Champs. And it's not because I'm young and have insane twitch ability and unbelievable control of the mechanics in game. It's just because I love the strategy in NHL and I'm pretty good at teaching it. So if you guys are interested in this video series, make sure you subscribe for the notification when these videos go live. Let's get into Division 8 through 6 in Breaking Plateaus. All right, so the main thing that we need to implement in this range and to get into Division 6 at least is to have a plan of attack. So I talked in my last video about how the players that aren't very good at this game, or very average, I don't want to say not very good, but very average, is they're reactionary. They don't have a plan. They're literally just reacting to whatever your opponent is doing. There's going to come a point where you can't beat opponents like that anymore because they are just dictating what is going on. And that is what you need to do. Just having a plan of attack and almost like a blueprint that you're going to do once you get into the zone. And I'm not talking about on a 2-on-1 or on a breakaway. We're going to talk about that later. But I'm just talking about once you're in the zone and there's a cycle set up. Too many people, especially in the lower divisions, they have no idea what to do once they're in the zone and they're cycling the puck. You're just looking for the open pass and then hoping that a one-timer eventually gets open. But you need to learn how to actually set up those one-timers so that you can increase your offense by a ton. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the clip from behind the net from my How to Score video. I'm just going to take it right from there, as again, it walks you through perfectly how to use behind the net. And again, this is something that I really need you to focus on just because it's going to give you a plan of attack once you're in the zone and cycling. So a lot like the overload, it is all about getting down low into the boards. But with the behind the net strategy, what you want to do is cycle around the net, whether that be passing to the winger that's going to be on the other side of the net or carrying it around yourself. The best way and most effective way to score behind the net is to carry the puck down low around the net and wait for that far side player to get open. Now, more often than not, that's going to be covered quite a bit, but this is the initial play that you want to look for when cycling the puck with the behind the net strategy. So in this clip right here is a perfect example of why the behind the net strategy became so popular in NHL 20. Everyone went with the biggest build possible. Everyone was using collapsing protect net. And the reason why big players were so at an advantage in NHL 20 is because you couldn't bump them off the puck. So you could just hold it the forehand, backhand, deke, and cycle around with the behind the net strategy. It's going to keep requiring your opponent to move and chase you around, and eventually something opens up. So in this sequence here, again, you're going to see I just cycle the puck around, and the more time on attack you have, the less time you have to spend defending. So I want to break down this clip as it is the most popular way to score behind the net and essentially the most important. So what you want to do in this scenario, again, the goal is to get it to that far side winger for an easy tap-in goal on the back door. But what you want to do is make sure that your eyes are always locked on that far side winger. What you want to be doing is making sure that you're not just locking in on the player with the puck, because he's really not going to do much for you with the behind the net strategy. What you want to make sure you do is you hold out the forehand or backhand, depending on which way you are defending from the defender. So the puck is always as far away as possible from the nearest defender, and then make sure your eyes are locked on the other side winger so that you can fire the pass at the right moment. All right, so this next setup with behind the net actually happens way out at the point. And all you're trying to do is wait for the two wingers. So if you've got opposite-handed players, which you always should, left-handed players play on the right wing, right-handed wingers play on the left wing. The reason for that is to set up the one-timer at pretty much any angle. So in this situation with behind the net, because it is really with three players rotating around the net, it'll give you almost this triangle with both wingers in a position to hammer a one-timer. So in this, what you can do is get into the slot, and then whatever player your opponent kind of lets off of, that's the one you pass to, and in this situation, I hit the right winger right here, and he hammers home a one-timer. Another great tactic with behind the net is the give and go. So while your players are rotating, the two players on the strong side, the side with the puck, are going to be in a spot to hit a one-timer, and you can do it relatively quickly. In this sequence right here, I'm going to show you I hit the streaking player into the middle, I fire right back to the guy that just passed me, and it's wide open for the one-timer. The goalie has no chance on this. You're going to see this a lot in the top-end competitive play as they look for these kind of backdoor one-timers that are very, very quick to set up. Now, this next goal is probably one of my most favorite when using the behind-the-net strategy, and it happens off of the rush. What ends up happening is, again, the give and go with the player that you're passing the puck to always sits wide open for a one-timer more often than not, unless your opponent is playing for it. So in this example right here, I stop up off the rush, hit my defenseman far side, and then I just fire it right back to him, and the goaltender really doesn't have much of a chance, especially if you have a decent shooter firing the one-timer. Alright guys, so this last clip is going to hammer home the point of this entire video, and that's to help you guys understand the offensive strategies of the AI on your team so that you don't have to watch the puck carrier as much. The reason why you guys struggle to find plays and one-timers and you turn it over and you get kind of hemmed out in the defensive zone is because you're just staring at the guy with the puck. The best way to do that is to make sure that you're comfortable and you know where your AI is going to be. So in plays like this, when you walk in with the defenseman, I'm not even looking at the net here at all. I have no interest in it. I'm just going to wait for that play to open up. And again, with the behind the net, those wingers are going to be open for the one-timer when you walk into the slot. All right, so I wanted you guys to watch that in its entirety because I think it breaks down the behind the net strategy really well. And now once you have an actual strategy in mind that's working while you're cycling the puck, you can stop staring at the puck carrier a little bit. You can stop reacting to what your opponent is doing, and you can start dictating how you're actually going to play in the offensive zone. That's going to result in more goals and obviously more wins. Now, once you get into these middle divisions, you need to start capitalizing on your opportunities. So now you know what to do when you're cycling the puck, which is the majority of the game. And again, the more time on attack you have, the less time that you have to spend defending. Time on attack does not mean that you are the better player. It just means that you're better at controlling the puck in the offensive zone. And, you know, if you can make the most of your chances, that's just going to lead to more wins. However, we need to discuss breakaways because in NHL 19 and 21, the one-hand tuck was literally it. It was a glitch goal. You could do it every single time, and they took it out in NHL 21. It's much harder to hit. It's no longer automatic. So now we need to discuss breakaways, and this is going to be something that you need to go into the lab for. You need to go into practice mode and just get it down because if you can capitalize on your breakaways that you get, and it doesn't even need to be clear blue line in breakaways. I'm talking like you poke the puck free in the offensive zone and you're in tight against your opponent's goaltender. You need to capitalize on these, and the higher division that you get, the more and more important it is going to be. So let's go over the go-to breakaway goals. All right, guys, so there is two main ways to score on the breakaway, and they are going to require you to go backhand, forehand, or forehand, backhand. So in the first video, I said go into practice mode and just get comfortable going like this, left and right, as the more, you know, when you do it, especially entering the zone, it's going to help you. But on the breakaway specifically, this is really what is going to benefit you, and I'll show you right here what to do, starting with on the backhand. All right, so we'll break this one down real quick as it's very simple, but you've got to come in slightly on an angle. So if you are on the offhand, so again, a left-handed player coming down the right side, you want to be near the face-off line. You can be a little bit more in the middle, but coming in on an angle definitely helps. And you skate in backhand, forehand, backhand upstairs. Now, it is a little awkward to aim top right. Again, for these, I'm talking to the players that are, maybe you aren't, as well versed in NHL, and that is, going to happen. So again, these videos are for the lower divisions, but it is something you need to get used to. There's a lot of times where I, for whatever reason, can't get my thumb to actually shoot the puck when doing this. And it just comes with repetition. So you need to be more comfortable with it. And this, again, works in tight. So there's lots of times where you get in this position, and the defense is right behind you, and, it's just a turnover. And again, backhand, forehand, upstairs, you get the goalie to drop, and it's going to go in almost every single time. All right, the next one is going to be basically just a forehand variation of it. And again, it's going to dictate based on what side you're coming down the ice. So let's say you have Coach Schur, he's left-handed, and you end up getting stuck and you're coming down the left-hand side. What do you do in that case? So, showing you guys the replay again on this one. You're coming down the left side again, just off of center. All right, you want to go forehand. All right, and then backhand, and then forehand and shoot. It's very quick, and you don't have to do it in tight. You can do it, the closer you are to the goaltender, as long as you're not right on top of them, it works even better, but you can do it from pretty far out. So it's just, again, you can see the stick on the left here. You're going to aim left, aim right, aim left, and then upstairs. And again, this goes back to what I was saying in that first video for divisions 10, 9, and 8, just learning how to actually aim your shot. You see, the left circle is my left thumbstick, the one I use to skate with. It also aims the puck. And again, this is for anyone that just doesn't know the basics of the game. And that is going to allow you to actually pick the corner, and it's an almost automatic goal. The closest one to it went on the breakaway. So mastering those two is of the utmost importance, because if you don't capitalize in these middle divisions on breakaways, it's just going to cost you wins, and that's what we're out to eliminate. One last thing we need to discuss about the breakaway, and that's how to stop it. All right, so the first breakaway attempt that happens when you give up one in a game, you want to hit L1 and X on your controller, or L1 and A, depending on the system you're on, or LB and A, and that will switch to your goaltender. You want to do it at the last possible second. You hit square and up on the left thumbstick, and that will do a poke-check dive. That is the best way to aggressively stop a breakaway. However, once you've done it once, if you give up another breakaway, the best thing to do, not touch your goalie again, because your opponent is just going to think and try and wait you out, and that's going to mess him up. So again, L1 and X on PlayStation, LB and A on Xbox. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about is the defensive zone, and we haven't really touched on that much, but it is actually understanding and learning where each player should be in the defensive zone and who is responsible for who. Once you are actually aware of that and you have a good understanding of your team, meaning that you know who the left wing and right wings are and left defenseman and right defenseman are, this is going to drastically improve your defensive play just by, again, understanding and having a plan of attack. Now, in NHL 21, obviously the cross creases are something that kind of victimizes people. So to counter that, you really have to set up your backdoor player or whoever you think is going to receive the pass for the one-timer by selecting your AI and then putting him in position before switching off and attacking the puck carrier. But I just want to show you in this clip and breakdown where each player should be. And you don't necessarily need to attack with each one, but you need to understand that if he's just carrying the puck around with one player and you're just having your right winger follow him all the way around the ice, for an example, if you don't switch off when it is now your right defenseman's turn to take over pressuring the puck carrier, because that's where he's entering, it's not man-to-man, it's zone on defense. That is going to help you out a lot, because if you're dragging one player around the defensive zone, what happens is it forces the AI that's supposed to be there to be like, oh, I got to go cover where you're coming from, and that's when you get open one-timers. So in this play right here, I'm just going to show you exactly where each player should be. In any defensive situation, here is what is supposed to happen. Your left winger is supposed to cover the top left defenseman. Your right winger is supposed to cover the top right defenseman. Now, obviously, there's going to be more space and cushion depending on the settings you're using. In this scenario, I use collapsing because I recommend it. It helps stop those, in the cross or in the slot one-timers, okay? Your center, his job is that middle guy in the slot. He can do one of two things. He can play passive and play in the slot, or he can help the defenseman in the bottom right attacking and trying to cut off passing lanes to get the puck back. Again, you want to play passive for the most part. But that other left side defenseman in this scenario, he's the one that's covering the backdoor pass. He is the one that's job is to make sure that that backdoor winger is covered. And whenever someone is on the other side of the ice with the puck, like this guy is in the bottom right, that's all he's looking at. That is all he's looking at. If you're playing a good player, that is the only player that he is trying to watch. And once your AI gets free of him, then that's usually a GG. In this scenario, so I take my center, I'm using Gretzky, I know where I need to be. In this scenario, he gets free of that defenseman, and there's one pass to make, and I make sure that I'm the one covering it. Guys, once you know where you're supposed to be, you have to make sure that you're switching off so that you're not, when you're playing a zone defense, you are not pushing and making your AI make unnecessary adjustments. So if you're trying to pressure someone at the point, switch to your right winger. All right, guys, so we covered a lot in this video, but I firmly believe that if you can grasp these things, you will be able to get yourself into Division 6. In the next video, we are going to break down Division 6 or 4, and that's when things start to get a little bit more intense. So we're going to show, I'm going to show specific gameplay things that happen in different instances, a lot more specific and not so generalized in terms of behind the net and just how to play defense like that. We're going to talk about player switching, all that kind of stuff as we move along the divisions to get to Division 1. That is my goal. So guys, let me know if you think this has helped, if you like these videos, and again, subscribe if you do enjoy the content. I'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys.